There are two tax deadlines that you should be on top of in the month of January. This is Paul Vasquez with Tax Lab. We help people save tens of thousands of dollars in taxes, and you can too. There are two major tax deadlines in January that you should probably be aware of. Number one is the 15th. So that's actually 5 days from today. You want to make your estimated payments for 2024. So you want to pay in advance as much as you can, leaving maybe $900 to $1,000 at the most on the table of additional tax liability to be paid on the 15th of April. Now, if you are somebody who's used to doing quarterly payments, then this 15th is going to just be that last quarterly payment of the year of 2024. And then on April 15th, you're actually making your first estimated payment. So on the 15th, you may need to make a tax payment for 2024, a final tax payment for 2024, and your first estimated payment of 2025. So kind of keep that in mind as you're going through this month. Hopefully you've been doing a good job with your accounting team and getting them all the information they've been requesting over the year so they can help correctly calculate that tax liability. Sometimes this is when your accountants have maybe they've been asking you for information all year and you haven't gotten to them some of that data. If that's the case, yeah, it's going to be harder for them to give you a great estimate on what that tax liability might be. So kind of a it's time to make sure you're getting that caught up right. So last time to make a payment on time for 2024 for tax liability over $1,000. So kind of keep that in mind. And then on the 31st, the last day of the month, you've got to make sure all your payroll items are out of the way. You're like, well, I don't have payroll. Okay, but have you paid anybody for services and you happen to have a side hustle, you drive Uber, whatever it is that you're doing on the side, or you're a business owner, remember those 1099s need to go out at the end of the month. What's interesting is that 1099s don't just apply to service, they also apply to rents. So if you're paying rent to anybody who is not incorporated, and it's usually not the best idea to incorporate property. So most likely it's going to be an individual or an LLC who's collecting your rents, and there's actually a type of 1099 that should go out. You're required to, as a business owner, send that out if you've paid them $600 or more during the year. So you're on the tab to do that. There's actually little check boxes you have to check on your tax return that'll say, should you have paid out a 1099? And this isn't, do I know I should have? This is regardless of your knowledge. And a lack of knowledge is not an excuse to disobey the rules. So you'll be held liable whether you realize it or not. And then if the IRS catches you, now you could be in trouble. So you want to make sure that you get your 1099s out for both services and rentals to anybody who's not listed as a company, as a corporation, S Corp or C Corp. And so to rest assured, what you want to do is send them out a W-9. Send them out that W-9, get it back, and then get those 1099s submitted. There is a 1096 that is a reporting document that you send with all the red forms. So you can't go online and just print out the 1096 along with all your 1099s. Because you actually have to have the red form if you're intending on mailing this in. There are services that can submit those electronically, which you can do. But there's a reporting requirement that after you've sent out all these 1099s to people Now you have to report that to the government. And that's done with a 1096. You're going to correlate all the forms that you sent. Now, what if you missed one? You just send another one. And if you're doing this by paper, if you're going to intend on mailing this in, you actually have to ask the IRS or buy from Staples or online a particular paper packet with a red form. If you go online and you go to the IRS, it's going to say right there in bold letters, if you'd read it, that you can't just copy and send in the form that they let you download offline. You can send that to the people who you're supposed to give a 1099 to, but for the government, they want this red form that they produce to be mailed to them if you're mailing it. The other option is digital services out there that can digitally send it to the IRS. For help in getting this done, please contact TaxLab. Start your journey by going to taxlab.tax and clicking on advisory services and schedule your interview with us so we can see if you're a good fit for our firm. Anyways, I wish you guys all the success. I get excited about tax time because it's kind of that time to kind of see how you did with your goals, your financial goals, and to set new ones for the new year. So I think it's a great time for that aspect of it, to have some accountability with your financial life. And if you know how to understand the tax code, it is pushing you with penalties and carrot and stick approach to try to get you to do the smart things financially to obtain wealth in America. So there's my rant for today. 2 things to take in mind. In summary, the deadline on the 15th for any estimated payments for 2024. If you have tax liability over $1,000 that you think you might have for 2024 before April. And then you've got your payroll type deadlines, those 1099s need to get into the IRS and, of course, out to your people prior to the end of the month. So best wishes on all your success.